Today I want to share 7 signs your boyfriend is emotionally unavailable. And yes, this can be a big issue in your relationship. I know it from my own experience, because even though it hurts to admit it, I've once been this man, and it had to do with trauma that I had to overcome, trauma that was related to the heart surgeries that I had as a child and as a young adult, or you could say teenager. I mean, back then I was 13, and I didn't know that I was carrying this trauma with me, which made me emotionally unavailable and which made me unable to commit. But eventually, I worked on myself and I overcame this trauma. And I know that your boyfriend can do the same. There's a high chance that if you give him a chance and if you work with him, if you support him and if you give him time, that he will turn from an emotionally unavailable man into an emotionally available man and a perfect partner. I've done it and I know that he can do it too. That's just something that I want you to keep in mind before I share these signs with you. Because often my Skype coaching clients, when they ask me, hey Sebastian, what do I do with this guy? I've started dating him, I'm falling for him, and he's emotionally unavailable. They always believe that this is something that they can't change, that a man can't change, but that's not true. I changed, I helped a lot of amazing women to basically change their man and to turn them from emotionally unavailable to emotionally available. And if you want to book a Skype coaching session with me, then you can check out the link in the description. And now let's have a look at the first sign that your boyfriend is emotionally unavailable. You are never really sure if he loves you. And I know that this is a very painful situation to be in. I know it from so many Skype coaching clients who told me that it hurts. That it hurts to not know whether or not the man that they are in love actually loves them. Whether or not this guy has feelings for them or not, because they are never really sure, because he doesn't talk about his feelings. He doesn't open up. He doesn't say, I love you. I mean, I've coached women who've been in relationships for months and they've never heard him say, I love you. Never. Even though deep down they had this feeling, yes, this man loves me. This man adores me. This man is obsessed with me. And if you want to become a woman that men are obsessed with, especially your boyfriend who now might be emotionally unavailable, but who will soon be very, very emotionally available because he will open up to you. If you want to become this woman and if you want to turn your relationship into a happy relationship, you might want to check out the video that you can watch if you click on the link in the description. And you might also want to think about the second sign. He avoids talking about his emotions. Whenever you start a conversation with him about his emotions, about how he feels in the relationship, about how he feels about your future, how he feels about you as his girlfriend, whenever you do that, he avoids talking about his emotions. And even when you know that there's something on his mind, something that he wants to talk about, some emotional issue that he has, maybe he's struggling with something, maybe he's dealing with something, or maybe you just have this feeling that he really wants to open up, but deep inside there's something that's holding him back, and that's why he avoids talking about his emotions. When you have this feeling, then it's a clear sign that your boyfriend is emotionally unavailable, because he might pretend that he's the strong man, that oh, nothing can hurt him, and oh, man, don't cry, man, don't show feelings. But deep down, he has some issues, and you need to give him the time and you need to build trust in order for him to open up. And if you want me to help you with that, like I said, you can always book a Skype coaching session with me. But to mention this again, this is actually one of the biggest problems that men nowadays have and why men ruin so many relationships. I have to admit it. As a man, it's not easy to admit it, but it is true. This is one of the biggest or the biggest weaknesses that men have. And that's that we from a young age learn to suppress our emotions. We learn that men don't cry, men don't show feelings, don't be weak, be a strong man. Unfortunately, the result is then that a lot of men are emotionally unavailable. And the result of that is that he reacts weird when you talk about your emotions. Maybe he reacts by being distant, or maybe he actually makes fun of your emotions, or he makes fun of his own emotions. Sometimes when men are emotionally unavailable, then they use humor, they use playfulness in order to, you could say in order to distract you from what's really going on inside of him. Because like I said, men don't cry, men don't show emotions. And this just means that he has never learned to deal with emotions, with his emotions, or even with emotions in general. Maybe he can't really deal with the fact that you are emotional and that he himself deep down is emotional, even though he doesn't want to admit it. And if he changes the topic when you talk about the emotions that you experience right now, or even the emotions that you experienced in the past. Let's say you talk about a past event that was either extremely beautiful for you or maybe even traumatic, and you share this with him, and he changes the topic because he can't deal with it. If you talk about a traumatic experience, maybe your ex-boyfriend cheated on you, or maybe something happened in your family and you share this with him, and he just changes the topic because it's so uncomfortable for him, because he never learned to deal with that, and he never confronted his own emotions, that he can't deal with the fact that you share these emotions with him. So whenever you're in this situation that a man changes the topic quite often, whenever you try to talk about something emotional, and like I said, it can be anything. It can be a positive emotion, it can be a negative emotion, or it can be a quite neutral emotion, just sharing something that you feel, and you have this feeling, you have this impression that he can't deal with that, then you are for sure dealing with an emotionally unavailable man. And what if you feel like somebody who's digging for gold, but you can't find the gold? Here's what I mean by that. One clear sign that your boyfriend is emotionally unavailable is if you have to dig deep before he reveals anything about himself and about his past. You feel like somebody who's digging for gold, and you're digging and digging and digging and digging until the shovel breaks, but you can't really get anything out of it. You can't find any gold. And it takes you so long, if you're actually lucky, to find a little bit of gold and to find out something about him and about his past and about the experiences, and especially about the emotions that are linked to these experiences that he had in the past or that he's feeling right now. In this situation, getting to know him on a deep and intimate level feels like hard work. And this is something that I heard from my Skype coaching clients over and over again. Especially the ones who were dealing with this exact situation when they had a boyfriend who was emotionally unavailable. And they told me over and over again, Sebastian, I have the feeling that I'm just digging and digging, that's why I use this analogy, and I never find anything because he never opens up. I have the feeling that with this man, getting to know him is hard work. It's not easy, it doesn't flow naturally, it's always hard work. I always have to make the first move. I always have to ask him before he shares anything with me. And this can turn a really happy relationship into a very painful experience. And what if he avoids talking about the relationship? And this is a very weird situation, because whenever I had a Skype coaching client who was in this situation, she was never really sure if the guy wanted a relationship or if he only saw her as a casual hookup. Because whenever you talk about the relationship and he avoids this topic, how can you be sure if he's just emotionally unavailable and he really loves you but he can't express it? Or he's not emotionally unavailable and he just sees you as a hookup, as somebody to satisfy his physical needs, but not as somebody to spend the rest of his life with, or to at least build a very meaningful relationship with. Of course, I can help you with that in a Skype coaching session, but one clear sign that he is emotionally unavailable is whenever you see in his face that there is something, there is love, there is affection, there are emotions, and he tries it with all his power and all his force. He tries to suppress them. If you see that, then he's emotionally unavailable and not just some cold rock who just uses you. Then he really loves you, he really adores you, he's obsessed with you, he just can't express it. But just keep in mind with such a man that whenever you talk about a serious relationship or you talk about commitment, he automatically goes into defense mode, basically. He automatically shuts down because he can't hear these words without feeling threatened. And this is something that's very hard for women to accept in a relationship because it takes time for a man to open up. And in this kind of dynamic, you need to be very careful with the words that you use. And then the last sign that I want to share with you, that's the most painful sign of all. It is a sign that your boyfriend is emotionally unavailable, but most women don't think that it's a sign because it's a little bit weird, it's a little bit tricky. But if he cheats on you without any reason, after you always try to bring up emotional topics, and after you basically pressured him into this corner of talking about his emotions. And here's the reason why it might happen to you. The reason is that when he meets a woman who doesn't do that, who doesn't want him to open up, because let's face it, if you meet somebody for a casual hookup, there is no opening up, there is no getting to know each other. In this situation, he doesn't see himself forced to confront his own emotions and to share his emotions. So he uses his own fears, his own insecurities, his own emotional unavailability as an excuse to cheat on you, because the other woman is just a short-term hookup for him, and she doesn't force him or threaten him in any way to reveal his emotions. And I know it sounds completely illogical, and it sounds completely weird that a man could actually see this as a threat, but believe me, when a man is traumatized, when a man for some reason can't be emotionally available, then this is a possible outcome that you always have to keep in the back of your mind. And if you don't want this to happen, then you might want to check out the video in the description, because if you become the woman he's so obsessed with that he can't even think of another woman, even though he might be emotionally unavailable right now, which doesn't mean that he will be emotionally unavailable in a couple of weeks or months. But if you want him to be so obsessed with you, then you might want to check out the link in the description, because if a man is really obsessed with you, he will not cheat with you, because you are the only woman that he can think of, that he desires, and that he wants. And if you enjoyed watching this video, if you liked it, please give it a big thumbs up and leave a comment in the comment section below. Share your opinion, share your thoughts. I would love to hear from you. And I would love it even more if you would hit the subscribe button and smash that notification bell so that you get notified whenever I release a new video for you. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video.